The silent room. It was raining when Anaya arrived at the old boarding house. She had been traveling since morning, her car broke down on the highway, and the only building nearby was this gray, crumbling structure with a hand-painted sign. Rooms for rent, cheap. The landlady, an elderly woman with a crooked back and a voice like broken glass, greeted her at the door. "You'll take the top floor. Room 6, she rasped. "Quiet up there. Perfect for the night." Anaya paid in cash, desperate for shelter. As the landlady handed her the rusted key, she added, "Don't go into room 7. It's locked. Always stay out." The hallway. The boarding house smelled of damp wood and mildew. The hallway light flickered, buzzing like an insect trapped in a jar. Room 6 was at the far end. Next to it, a blackened door with faded gold numbers barely visible. 7. The lock on room 7 was strange. 3 bolts, heavy chains, and waxy red stains around the edges, as if someone had pressed melted candles into the wood. When Anaya shut her own door, she swore she heard a faint whisper through the walls. Not words, just breathing, slow, deliberate, too close. The first night thunder cracked, rattling the window. Anaya lay on the creaky bed, staring at the ceiling. From the other side of the wall came a sound. Knock, knock, knock. She froze. "Hello?" she whispered. The knocking stopped. Silence. Then a voice, soft and strained, came from room 7. "Help me." Her heart lurched. The landlady said room 7 was locked, empty. Knock, knock, again. Louder this time. Anaya tried to convince herself it was pipes, wind, or her imagination. But when she pressed her ear to the wall, she clearly heard it, fingernails dragging slowly across the wood, followed by a wet, rattling breath. The warning. At dawn, she went downstairs. The landlady was already waiting, staring at her with milky eyes. "You heard it, didn't you?" the old woman said. Anaya's throat tightened. "Someone's in room 7. They asked for help." The landlady's face twisted. "Don't answer, don't talk back, and never ever open the door." "But who?" "It's not who," the landlady cut her off. "It's what?" Her bony hand gripped Anaya's wrist like iron. "If it knocks again tonight, you pretend you're asleep. If it speaks, you cover your ears. Do you understand?" Anaya nodded, though fear knotted in her stomach. The second night. That evening, the storm returned, wind shrieking through broken shutters. At midnight, the knocking began. Slow, rhythmic, knock, knock, knock. Anaya buried her head under the blanket, but the voice seeped through the fabric, soft as breath against her ear. "Please, I'm cold. Let me out." She clutched her pillow. The room grew colder, the air heavy like wet cloth pressed over her mouth. The voice grew sharper. "Why won't you help me?" Her teeth chattered. She whispered, "Stop." The reply was a hiss, furious now. "I know you hear me. I know you're awake." Her lamp flickered, then burst, plunging the room into darkness. And in that dark, she heard the sound of someone scratching inside her closet. The closet. With shaking hands, she grabbed her phone and turned on the flashlight. The closet door rattled. Something inside pressed against it. She stumbled back, breath catching. Then, silence. Slowly, she crept forward and yanked the closet door open. Nothing. Only her coat swaying slightly, though the air was perfectly still. But when she shut the closet, the whisper came again. This time from the bed she had just left. Warmer now. Closer. By morning, Anaya was pale, sleepless. She demanded answers from the landlady. "What's in room 7?" she pleaded. The old woman shook her head. "Once, many years ago, a tenant stayed there. A man. He heard the whispers just as you do, but he answered too much, spoke to it, opened the door." Anaya's skin prickled. "And?" The landlady's voice dropped to a trembling whisper. "The room never gave him back." The third night. Anaya decided she couldn't stay another night. She packed her bag, ready to leave at dawn. But that night, the voice returned stronger, angrier. "Why are you leaving? Don't you want to know my name?" The knocking was now violent, shaking the thin walls. Her lamp flickered on and off. The air smelled of iron and rot. And then, the door to room 7 creaked. The chains rattled as if unseen hands were tearing them loose. "No!" she gasped, rushing to the hallway. The landlady was already there, holding a cross and muttering prayers, tears running down her cheeks. The chains on room 7 fell, one by one. The door opens. With a final crash, the lock split. The door groaned open, revealing only darkness inside, a darkness that seemed to breathe. The landlady screamed, "Don't look at it!" and covered her eyes, but Anaya looked. 2 pale hands emerged from the black, fingers impossibly long, bending the wrong way. A face followed, if it could be called a face. Hollow sockets where eyes should be, a mouth sewn shut with black thread, yet the voice filled the air. "You heard me, you answered, now you're mine." The thing crawled out, dragging itself with twisted limbs, and the lights in the hallway died. The final moment. Anaya tried to run, but the floor beneath her seemed to melt into tar, slowing her steps. The landlady shrieked prayers until her voice broke, then fell silent, snuffed out like the lights. The last thing Anaya saw before darkness swallowed her was the creature standing over her, head tilting unnaturally as the stitches on its mouth began to tear open. And then, silence. The next morning, room 6 stood empty. The landlady refused to clean it, refused to even walk upstairs again. But from that night on, tenants in the house swore they heard 2 voices whispering behind the locked door of room 7, one pleading, one laughing. And sometimes, late at night, a new knocking begins from the other side.